it's TxStampin Sharon. Today I'm bringing you a card that I hope will warm you up if you're in a cold climate. It's pretty cold where I'm at in southern Arizona, so I love this Beach Happy stamp set and I hope you like my card. After you have watched the video, let me hear from you. Let me hear your comments about this card. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, you can do so below. After you subscribe, hit the little bell. You'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Let's make my card. How do you get your inspiration when you're stamping a card? I get mine from a picture, a bedspread, a display in a store, just the colors, things like that. So I wanted to use this picture of palm trees and everything to inspire me to make my card. You know what? I figured out that trying to do the sky was super hard. I'll show you my attempts, but I really struggled and I was sad because I took this picture in Hawaii at sunset when we were having dinner, and I love this picture. I have it out on my desk. And so I wanted to try to recreate it in a card. I didn't have much luck. My finished product does not look like this, but it was still my inspiration. And I want to encourage you that to look around you and see things that inspire you to help you create your cards. I'm going to be using a product in the annual catalog called Graceful Glass Designer Vellum. Because this paper isn't in color, I feel like it has been overlooked a lot. And I loved this little wavy pattern down here, and that's what I chose to use on my card. Here is the paper. There's different patterns. Just a real pretty stained glass look. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with this. As you can see, I've already been cutting on this piece. I wanted to use my new stamp set called Beach Happy because I'm cold in southern Arizona. I cannot believe our winter this year. And all I can think of is the beach and warm weather. And so I pulled out this stamp set. And like I said, I was looking at my picture for inspiration. Here's my first attempt of the sky. Not so much. It's just not there. Here is my next attempt. Still, and I used purples and I used Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight, and it just came out too muddied when I try to use sponges. So I opted to go for one with no sponging. And the water turned out bluer than this one. This one I used like Coastal Cabana or something. And so I really liked the bluer water. So this is the card that we're gonna make today. I have a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock here that I have got flat because I'm gonna be stamping directly on it. I have scored it and I've already folded it, but if you leave it flat, when you're stamping, you won't have that card layer moving. Have you ever experienced that? All right, we're gonna take our designer series paper, and to be honest with you, the first time I did this, I just cut off like 2 inches. Well, that didn't work very well. I decided to use my snips instead, and I wanna try to get like 2 or 3 more cards out of this. I have cut off my strip, and while you may be tempted to go skinnier, I wouldn't advise it because, and I'll show you why. I tried to go skinnier, see about how wide my piece is, and see how you can't see the water. I suppose I could have cut another piece and maybe had another wave, but you can get about 3 of these out of a 6x6. So give yourself a good 2 inches or so before you, in other words, don't try to skimp like I did. I am going to be using the Night of Navy Stampin' Blends, and I want to color on the back side. It just seems to go a little bit easier. Now we're going to switch to the lighter color. When you turn it over, you can see the different shades. I know it's probably hard on the camera, but you can see how some is darker and some is lighter and very pretty. We're going to be adding this to our card with some multi-purpose glue at the bottom. And you'll notice that I have a piece just hanging off. When I cut this vellum exactly at 5.5, it was too short. I don't know. I don't know if the vellum kind of maybe slid a little bit in my trimmer. So I am not going to cut it until we're done. And I will do that after I've adhered it to the card base. I have my card base flat. I think I said this so that when I'm doing my stamping of my palm trees, my card won't move. If there's any adhesive, make sure you rub it off because we're going to be pouring black embossing powder. And I figured out really quickly that that powder really sticks to any of the liquid glue that may have transferred over. I have a piece of crumb cake and I'm just going to use my fingers and tear this towards me just to give a jagged edge to my cardstock, which I feel adds more texture. We used to tear cardstock all the time, and I don't know when that stopped, but it did. I have, move this out of the way. I have some soft suede ink and a sponge, and I'm just using my fingers underneath to support the cardstock, and I'm just gonna sponge the edge. There are stamps that we sell or that you could get that you could add like some little flecks or something to make it look more sandy. But I try really, really hard when I'm teaching a technique or a card to just stick with one stamp set. We can add this with snail. Just going to line it up on the bottom. So now I can take and just trim off that extra water. And now we're going to use our embossing buddy, and I'm going to do this really good. I mean, that black powder just seems to stick more than any other color that I use. I have my stamps already, but since they're photopolymer, I do need to lift them up a bit. And the fun thing about the photopolymer is that I can bend my palm tree. Look at that. if you've watched any of my videos lately, you know that I messed up my, I don't know how, because I could have sworn that I cleaned that stamp. But I have found that it's okay because you guys can see better without it, with it being tinted. All right, so this one is going to go a little bit differently. And I'm going to fix this. I never worry about Versamark on my fingers. I think it actually gives me a little bit more moisture on my hands. Got to be careful with this stamp because it's pretty skinny and it really wants to wobble. Now, as far as the tops of the palm trees, as I made all my cards, I struggled with seeing exactly where to line this up, but I think I've done it so many times that I think I'll be pretty good. But you may want to emboss the trunks first and then come in with your tops. Does that make sense? And I'm actually going to have my things down a little bit lower. Every card is always different. And I like to kind of tap that. I don't know. I just feel like it helps get the powder down where you want it. So speaking of where we don't want it, can you see the black powder along that? You have to really tap this off. And it comes off, but I mean, I'm telling you, the black powder just, you saw how much embossing buddy I did, and the black powder just really, it loves to stick. Did you notice how I started embossing at the top? I meant to talk about that before I turned on the machine. I want to get my heat tool as hot as I can up at the top. I don't want to do too much on the vellum. So I did the top section, I moved down to the cardstock, and then I did the trunks. I don't know, it was just one of those things. Can I overheat the vellum? I don't know. I'm gonna wipe off my embossing buddy. The reason that I ended up with my trunks and my palm trees black is because of the black lines in the paper itself. I sure hope you liked my cards. I was inspired, like I said, by my picture, but my card ended up being nothing at all like the picture. Thanks for watching, guys. I sure hope y'all liked my card. I loved playing with it and coloring it with the Stampin' blends. And I don't know, it just kind of warmed me up a little bit to be thinking about the beach when it's cold right now. So happy stamping, y'all.